A more robust way to deploy our template is as a v6. Self-contained, easy to move around. You can upload them to the gallery, email them to a friend. They don't have to be put in magic folders. When you double-click them, Visual Studio knows what to do with them. This is a way better plan than sending someone a zip and hoping they put it in the right place. I'm actually going to use an extension in order to make it simple to make v6s. So I could take that zip, make a new empty v6 project using some project templates that come with the Visual Studio 2010 SDK, and then try to tie that zip in as the payload. It's reasonably hard work, much easier if I get myself an easy extension that lets me export a template as a v6. So let's bring up the extension manager. You can see that at the moment I have no extensions installed inside my Visual Studio. But I can check the online gallery, and it's actually consuming the same information as www.visualstudiogallery.com, letting me look at some extensions that I might like to install. If I look at the gallery over here in a browser and choose Browse, say Visual Studio 2010, I get a variety of different extensions that I might like to use. I can sort them, say, by how many times they've been downloaded. Then if I go back to Visual Studio, I can sort these by the exact same criteria like most downloads. And if I take a look at, say, Power Commands here, look at the number of downloads and the ranking, then go back to the gallery. Here's Power Commands, here's the number of downloads and the ranking, even the number of votes. So it's the exact same set of information. Now, one way for me to install a particular extension could be that I would click here in the gallery, take a look at the particular extension, decide that I want it, click download, and then I get, do you want to open or save this file? It's a v6 file. I could save it to my machine and then double click it, or I could just open it from here and it would just install it right into my Visual Studio. I'm not actually going to do that. Just want you to see that the files on the gallery are v6 files. Instead, I'd like to do my installation from inside Visual Studio. And much as I like the Power Commands, it's not the one I'm going to install right now. Instead, I'm going to search on v6 and choose this Export Template Wizard. This makes it really simple to make a project or item template from an existing project or item, but have it as a v6 format rather than just as a zip file. Click Download right here inside Visual Studio. It's going to download the v6, and when I click Install, it's going to install it into my copy of Visual Studio. So you see now I have a green check mark there. And if I go along with what it wants to do and restart Visual Studio, if I bring up the extension manager again, you can see that I now have this extension installed. More importantly, if I look on my File menu, I can see that I have a new item on the File menu, Export Template as v6. That's fantastic. I don't want to use this WPF application 4, which I generated earlier from my old style put the zip in the magic folder template. So I'm going to go back to my starting point. And export my starting point. Now, having been through the template conversation when we export it to a zip, you're going to recognize most of these questions, not surprisingly. The team member who wrote the wizard obviously wanted to stick to as many of the same user interface as we were all familiar with. So we're going to build a project template using the only project I have open, starting point themed. But I don't like that as a name for my template, so I'm going to call it Shiny Red WPF Application. The previous versions of this guy, I had two eyes in shiny and I only had app instead of application, so we'll be able to tell them apart. And you'll see this description when you go to install and choose the template from, say, the gallery, so it's a good idea to have a smart one. And I've been leaving icons, images, and preview images blank. I'm going to continue to do that for just a little bit longer. But I'll point out two new fields on this particular wizard, the wizard assembly and the welcome page. You may have used project templates where you go through a series of dialogues that ask you to check boxes or choose things from drop-downs and generate different starting point code from you depending on your choices. That's out of scope for what we're doing here, so that's going to stay blank. And the welcome page is a page of HTML. You'll see that when we come back to do icon images and preview images. We'll also do the HTML then. So I don't like this product name, starting point themed. And I'm actually going to put some spaces in my product name so it'll look a little nicer on the gallery. If I had a website with a place that described how to use this format, I could put the URL in here. I don't want to automatically import the template. I do like the idea, though, of opening an Explorer window that lets me see what was generated for me. So I'm going to click Finish. And we have a number of files from earlier demos. The only new one is this one right here, shinyredwpfapplication.v6. And I'm going to pull it out of here and onto my desktop. And then I'm going to show you how simple it could be to publish your extension to the gallery. Go back to the gallery. I happen to already be signed in. I'm going to click Upload. The first question it's going to ask, what kind of extension are you uploading? Maybe I'm writing a tool, something that refactors. Maybe I'm writing something visual, like a WPF control. But we already know it's a project template. And there's lots of chit-chat going on helping you to follow your way through the process. I'm going to click Next and browse to my desktop where the v6 file is. Click Next. And then it asks me a few simple questions. This crummy thumbnail and crummy screenshot are because I didn't fill in the icon or the screenshot. I can choose my categories and tags, and the only choice I have here is free when you're uploading it this way. And type in a big long description. I'm going to cancel on this because I don't actually want to upload Shiny Red WPF application to the gallery right now. I do want to show you one thing. When you go to any extension, such as the Power Tools, in addition to this giant link to download it, you notice there's also this other giant link just above the download button. So if somebody goes through this very minimal process to upload something to the gallery, that's really inappropriate. It's a pretty simple matter for others to notice and to spread the word about that. Well, I'm not going to upload Shiny Red WPF application.v6 to the gallery just yet, but I am going to do the imitation of installing it. So first, let's confirm that we don't have anything going on in the project templates from before. So templates, project templates, Visual C#, there's the Windows folder, there's our Shiny Red WPF app. Let's just delete that. So that if I come in here to create a new project, there's no sign of Shiny Red WPF app under Visual C# or under Windows. That way we won't get our two different mechanisms confused.